Good evening, Free Enterprise fans. I am one of your co-commentators, Groundflier, and we have a race in the hook route between Lordbobbree and Moo Mooney, who are both 1-0. A special thanks also to Alicel for doing Restream and Baka Shinobi for hitting the buttons. And I am also joined by my co-commentator, PixelTamer. What do you think of these flags?
These objectives are crazy. This is a 1 key item seed, and we've got an old man who can make it very easy to grind.
Yeah, I'm super in love with the Tele start, honestly. That's maybe my favorite start because that exit makes things so much more accessible. You can go in pretty deep, grab a lot of really good chests in places like the Watery Pass, and then hit exit and come all the way back, which is a real time saver and really gives you a lot of extra places to check.
Indeed. Of course, Tela is the first character to get access to exit. You have to level up Porum a bit to get there, and you have to do the Tower of Zod if you want Rosa to get it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, these flags are really, or sorry, I keep saying flags. This seed, the objectives here. We got basically Darkness Crystal will get Go mode because there's the Mist Cave and Big Whale is what you unlock with Darkness Crystal, and then you just have to do Vanilla Spear Altar, so you have to level up and such there. But it's absolutely doable with just 1 key item here.
Yeah, I can't imagine our runners doing Forge unless they find it before they get the Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe in the event that they started with 1 piece of it, that would be a different thing. But we don't even know what way to get underground is yet, so it'll be really interesting.
Underground could also be entirely optional.
Exactly, that's the thing. If Darkness Crystal's on Overworld, then it's over. We don't need anything else. But if Darkness Crystal's hidden somewhere underground, then that's a whole other different thing.
Yeah. In that scenario, I wonder if we'd see either of these runners go for some of those crazy low-level strats that have been getting popular lately.
Yeah, those strats that I'm super not good at. But yeah,
I need to learn those if I'm going to keep going in this event, I think.
Yeah, at some point I actually have to figure that stuff out. But I mean, the other alternative here is they've got to tell us start. So D Machine Grind is absolutely online.
Yep, and here we go. Let's find out if we're in Go mode from the start or if we actually have to do something. This seed.
In start, you'll have to see him. Starts out a little weak. Oh, and get a Baron key. Okay, awesome start. So that gives them a couple more opportunities of stuff to check on the overworld.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping for that Darkness Crystal just to see these runners panic.
Okay, that would have been kind of hilarious, although I would feel that in my bones after our race earlier this week, because, whew, that was super fast. But yeah, Jet really kind of gets the blood rushing.
Alright, so where do you think our runners are going to go first, given that you have this starting Tele and can make some of those deep looting runs?
I mean, what I would do is I'd go grab quick characters, because Kane is super weak, and you kind of want to just get that mist done early, so, okay, interesting. So we've got Moo Mooney checking Baron in, and we've got, Lordbobbree is going to get those 2 characters over at Basidia. That'd probably be my play, because I just want to get other characters, hopefully with better level or better hit points and damage and stuff. But we see a Palom and the Baron in with an evil wall at the first spot, which honestly is a really jetty place, a really good place for the runners to find evil wall, because that can be really spicy.
Yeah, and we've got double Porums over on Bobbree's side.
Oh, we don't have a dearth of healing at the moment, so that's pretty good. Although
we could totally go for Holy Reflect strategies and Zeromus at this rate.
Yeah, okay, no kidding. That'd definitely be an option. Although obviously, Porums are not the best end game in terms of hit points and stuff like that. So that's one thing that would be a little bit of a deterrent. My guess is that Lordbobbree will probably keep one for a minute, but end up trading one of them out for somebody else that's either magic or physical DPS.
Yeah, and we saw Ether 2s and Star Bales in the Mysidia shop. Both are going to be super useful.
Oh yeah, especially if there's a D-Machine grind. Having those Ether 2s is super handy, and Star Veils, you'll need them for a lot of different bosses and stuff too. And if you're doing Reflect strats, you super need them. So we have Moo Mooney hanging out in Mist Town right now, and Lordbobbree is heading into my favorite place to loot, which is the underwater passage. I always forget the name of this place.
Watery Pass.
Thank you, Watery Pass. Words are hard.
We saw a Heroine Robe over on Moo Mooney's side.
Oh, excellent.
So could turn one of those hypothetical Porums into an Archer as we pick up a Sid.
Yeah, Sid's another good one to get early. Honestly, Sid is really good in any part of the game. He doesn't do maximum damage stuff like Cecil and Kane can do, but he has so many hit points, and he can just basically tank anything, and then his agility is low enough that you can use him as a good agility anchor, even in the late game, so even after leveling him.
Yeah, looks like we're doing a short dip into Waterway Pass from Lordbobbree, exiting out as soon as we're done the secret room.
Yeah, one thing that people often do, and I'm one of them, if I have a Tella, I like to run all the way through to the other end and then exit back out to the beginning and just take the airship. But another thing that's spicy to do is like what Lordbobbree is doing right now, which is just going in the front and the back, because the best concentration of chests are right at the front, right at the back.
Exactly. This play is getting more and more popular, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. It definitely is. But the chests down here can be really, really good.
That is right. We are on the T Wildest settings, which means treasure chests are weighted by location, and certain locations, such as the Waterway Pass, are more incentivized than others and can have very powerful items.
For those familiar, it's kind of a combination of pro and wild. So pro, let's see. Yeah, wild means more spicy, like better loot out of chests, and then pro means like they're distributed based on like scarcity of area or whatever like that, and if they're gated behind key items and stuff. So putting those together, you get extremely spicy loot in places like even the Watery Pass. You could get like crystal swords and all sorts of stuff.
That's right, and both of our runners checking out Damsian.
Ooh, Baka Gungnir. Was that Mumuni? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I believe the Gungnir came from Mumuni's side.
Yeah, when you have a Kane start and you get an actual good spear for him right at the beginning, that's awesome. That he's gonna be really powerful.
Just saw a lightsaber pop up as well.
Good to have, especially if you end up finding a Cecil. That's maybe the base level weapon. I would actually keep a Cecil. I don't know. It'd be a difficult choice, but with Cecil having the vanilla agility situation, I'm less inclined to keep him unless I get something really good.
Yeah, we've got 2 slow characters already, so we're kind of good on the agility front right now, and having that flexibility is great. And there's Best White Mage.
Yeah, there's Bay. So Bay is going to be taking the place of one of the Porums pretty quickly. I can be pretty sure of that.
I don't know. I still think we could go for White Mage Reflex strats.
Well, I mean, it would be pretty spicy having 3 White Mages and then Tella as well.
But we get rid of one of those Porums.
Yeah, probably better to have a little more well-balanced party, so I don't blame him for doing that. But it looks like he's going to check Mist, which is one of the objectives here, so that's good to always... One of the main rules of this, of Free Enterprise, is always check your objectives, always check your freebies. So Mist is honestly both, unless it's a Golbez fight. It's going to be basically a one-shot.
Wyvern could be rude here, depending on if it gets the first turn.
That is true. Oh, and yeah, Sid just equipped the Dwarf Axe and unequipped it really quick. What's that for?
Alright, so in this game, there's a certain flag that gets set on your character whenever you equip a ranged weapon, and that lets you deal full damage from the back row. When you unequip a ranged weapon, that flag is not cleared, which means that you can equip a character with a ranged weapon once, and they can benefit from it for the rest of the game.
Not only does it make you deal the same damage in the back row, it also makes the damage equal to if you see an enemy in the back, it will also do equal damage. And it looks like we got Eddie on ordeals there for Mumuni, but he's running back out. I guess
yep.
Not too interested in finishing that just yet. He probably wants to get some easier things.
Lordbobbree gets through the Karate Man and does some looting. Miss Cave being another one of those incentivized locations.
Oh, hi, he just got a ribbon. So, yeah, ribbons are super, super good defense and can protect against a lot of interesting status effects. I think one of the ones, like, when Golbez binds you and then the dragon starts eating everyone, I think if you have a ribbon, you don't get eaten, which is really helpful.
The Dark Dragon will only attempt to eat somebody 3 times. So if the Dark Dragon fails to eat somebody even once, that means you have an extra character left around for the actual Golbez fight.
Yeah, exactly, which can be really helpful. And you can even do stuff like hide Eddie, and it will make you have less characters get killed. But yeah, if you have a ribbon, it will just deflect off of it. And it looks like Mumuni's doing Hobbs and is getting a Punch Mage for his trouble. Or Maybe not taking. Ooh, yep, maybe. Oh wow, got rid of the cane. That's interesting. But yeah,
that is unexpected.
yeah, especially I think he was the one that had the Gungnir, so that's a pretty surprising move. But Yang, although he starts a little on the weak side, it has a really good end game because all of his stats kind of accelerate. He doesn't really need gear to get powerful for the end game, and he ends up with just a ton of hit points, so he can survive anything.
Right, weapons are mostly optional for Yang, and although he doesn't get the heaviest armor, he does get access to some of the nice stat-boosting armor, like Zeus Gauntlets and the Black Belt shirt.
Right, exactly. So you can give him a little bit, but yeah, his claws are more or less for elemental purposes and for being able to do special damage to certain types of enemies.
Yes, and our tracker Baka correcting us, it is Bobree that has the Gungnir Spear, not Mooney.
Thank you, Baka. Yes. Okay, that makes a little more sense then. Yeah. So Lordbobbree is going to have a lot more damage to be dealing out with that cane. Cane is difficult because he starts at such a low level. All of his gear is just garbage. Like it's just totally useless. So you need to really replace everything with better stuff in order to make him viable. And then it takes a while for his early level curve is not great. But once he gets to a certain point, he starts just getting super powerful.
Right, and Bobree gets through the CPU at Ant9 spot, took a risk and took out the attacker before taking out the CPU, and we saw one Globe 199 come out, take out the cane, and we get our underground access.
Yeah, wow, underground. Well, quick underground access is a really interesting thing, because again, all we need is a darkness crystal for go mode here. So, that magma key might be a diversion, and you might not need to use it, so it's a real interesting question. Do you go underground and start looting stuff? I mean, I think I would, just because I would want to check the shops down there and see if any of them are sirens and coffins and all the really good higher tier loot.
And you've got access to 2 freebie key items once you're underground.
Right, exactly. You've got the extra sylph, or the sylph for Sheila 1 checks, and then you've got the freebie chest in Fate March.
And if one of those has the darkness crystal, you're just set.
Right, exactly. That's honestly, that is really the best play. You want to get earlier checks more often, I think, is usually the way to go. That's certainly what I try and do. Sometimes it's good to loot stuff early, but you don't want to get too far behind on your checks and then have, be down by a bunch of key items to your opponent potentially.
Yeah, it's definitely a careful balance of how much do I loot versus how much do I just try and get things done so I'm ahead of my opponent.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about these flags, they're definitely a lot more jetty than the table flags for various reasons, but one of the big things about them is because it's T-Wildish and the loot can get really spicy in, gated locations and other places, you never feel bad about looting stuff because you're constantly finding new stuff that you can equip, but it's at some point you have to stop looting because you need to go faster, and so it's really hard to hit that sweet point.
And not only that, but 3 of the 4 objectives are required here. You can skip one if you don't like it. Unlike the Football Gauntlet where you had to do all 5.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the cool things about this. Being able, I guess it was with patch 4.1, it implemented, you can get a certain number of objectives and you only need to complete X number of those. So for this, we're doing 3 of 4. I think that is also the same for table flags.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe the changes for table flags are to turn off the Sylph glitch, downgrade treasure and shops to pro, and permajoin instead of buy for the characters.
That sounds about right. I'm trying to think if there's another. Oh, you said the buy, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So, but all that stuff is really interesting and adds a different dimension to the game. So I'm really gonna be excited to see where the table races go with that kind of stuff. The strategy's gonna be kind of off the charts.
And chat pointing out that warp glitch is also turned off in the table flags.
So what warp glitch does is when you get underground and you go Dwarf Castle and take out the bosses at the end, the room where the crystal is actually the same room as the Luca key one for that dungeon as well. They just use it as a placeholder. You don't actually get anything there. You just do your little cutscene, and when you come back out, you get the item from Luca. But if you use the warp spell when you're in there, you will warp back into the crystal room, and you can get the treasure from Luca. So you can get an extra spicy treasure out of that, which is not available in table.
Yeah, Lordbobbree diving Feymarch, found the trap chest early, is probably going to do a bunch of looting on the way down now.
Yeah, this is another place that's super good for looting. one of the best, because it's literally that one trap chest. If you get it early, then you can loot everything, and then you can loot all of the Feymarch town as well. And there's just tons of good treasure down there. This is usually like the last place I end up looting before I'm done.
Yeah, I've been a bit hesitant to loot here just because of the damage tiles and the trap chests, but once you reach a certain level, you can just float, and then you can just deal with the warriors trivially with Quake or something.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to deal with them, because yeah, obviously that's a trap chest, so the loot is a lot better in trap chests, but I usually just skip it, because it's annoying. There's five enemies, and I mean, unless you have an hourglass handy, or yeah, like a Quake, then it can take a lot of time.
Yep, and Lordbobbree finding a Blizzard Spear, a Full Moon, and a Rune Axe. Decent weapon for Kane, back row of opportunities for an edge if we find one, and Sid's best weapon.
All that's super good. Yeah, that axe is really good, and that is, I believe that's the one that is good against sorry, not D-Machines, Mac Giants, which are one of the other grind options on the, up in Giant.
I believe Rune Axe is only effective against mages, not machines.
My bad. Yeah, okay. It's the Ogre Axe, right? Is that the...
Yes, and I believe also the Poison Axe.
Right.
But the key item in Feymarch is Masamune, and we find hourglasses in the shop in the Feymarch.
Hourglass is a great thing to find early. They make a lot of bosses trivial, like usually on the easier side bosses, but oftentimes if you find them in a gross place like on the moon, you can throw down an hourglass and stop them and just finish them on your own time. But they're also really good if you have a limited number of sirens and you want to go, or even if you don't have sirens and you want to go do moon grinding, you can use those to stop the gold dragons, and makes those fights trivial as well, which those give a ton of XP and a ton of gold, so they're useful.
And more value in the Feymarch as Lordbobbree finds a cursed ring.
Ooh, awesome. So yeah, that cursed ring is going to lower all stats by 15 for one character. It's super useful to use for whoever's in the middle slot, or sometimes for Cecil, because it will lower their agility so much that the relative agility of everyone else is a lot better, and you know, they go a lot faster that way, or they get more turns than the boss does.
Yeah, and speaking of bosses, Lordbobbree finds Rubicant, finds a Moonsparkle, decides, I'm not dealing with this right now.
Yeah, Rubicante at Leviathan is gonna be kind of gross. Well, honestly, everybody at Leviathan's kind of gross, if I'm honest. But that's a really fast spot, so the glares are going to be coming out quickly, the cape's going to be open really fast, and a lot of hit points there, so I definitely don't blame him for fading that. But now it looks like Lordbobbree is heading into Fabul to do the crap, what's the word for it?
Sheila 1 and probably also the Fabul defense.
Defense. Well, yeah, words are hard tonight, sorry everyone. Oh, good, and Mumuni is also getting that curse ring, so yeah, that's such a huge advantage in endgame. Like, it's kind of something that you can often overlook, but I love having that like extra anchor situation just to make sure my agility is super short down, so that when I do that final boss, that I don't have to worry about anything.
So why does being slow help you with the final boss?
That's the part that's difficult. I'm not a huge. I don't exactly know how the whole relative agility thing works, but I know that if you have in your center position, or whoever's your kind of agility anchor, a really low agility, and you have high agility for all of your other characters, what that ends up doing is it makes the boss really slow, I believe, and your other characters in the party really fast, or maybe one or the other. And so you get a lot more turns and a lot more attacks in between all of the different big bangs and all the other stuff that Zeromus does. So it makes it a lot easier if you can do that. If you're too fast, then if your anchor's too fast, okay, yes, Baka, the short version. There's a limit to how much faster you can be than the anchor. So, you know, you want to try and get that.
Yeah, like you said, there's a limit to how fast a boss can go, and if you can speed up your other party members, it just makes fights a little bit easier because you get more turns relative to the boss.
Exactly. Yeah, if those big bangs are coming out too fast, like, you're just not going to get a time to throw a Silk Web down to nerf the big bang. You're not going to be able to get many spells off between them. You're going to be healing too much. It's just going to be a nightmare. Okay, so the boss will still be fast, but if your anchor is really slow, everyone else can be at its maximum speed as well. So it's making your characters reach the speed of the boss, essentially.
Yeah.
And defend is over, so we're going to see what's up here. it looks like Moon is also doing that. I don't believe Moon went underground yet, or if he did, I don't think he did Fey March. Or I'm sorry, Sylph Cave. And we get a package, so that's another key item. Not a terribly useful one. We're still looking for that darkness crystal, but you start to want to get key items because you know, the little icons there. If you get 10 of them lit up, the one that's the pass is not included. If you get 10 other ones lit up, then you get double experience. So a lot of times you'll hit go mode and you'll be at close to 10 key items, but not quite there. And it's actually a good idea to go and take out a couple of bosses in the places and grab some key items so that you can get up to that double experience point.
Yeah. Is Lordbobbree leaving Fabul without talking to Sheila?
Oh goodness, I think that just happened. I think you're right. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully he rectifies that at some point. But yeah, that's you don't want to check Sheila 1. Sheila 1 can give you the goods. It looks like Moon's also defending Fabul here, so he's going to get the same package. And like I said, I don't think he has Sheila 1 yet, so he'll have to come back for that. But hopefully he does not forget.
All right, so I'm going to propose something really mean that might be fun for our viewers.
Ooh, I love Moon. Oh, yes.
Demist at package, leading into Earth Crystal, leading into Twin Harp, leading into Tower Key, leading into Darkness Crystal.
Ooh, I'm getting the shivers. I like that. Yes, I'm here for that. That would be spicy. Yeah. Even better. Maybe even better than that is. No, they're right. It's the mist. It's got to be the mist in like the worst possible place. Because yeah, Mist Dragon is a really interesting thing with these flags because when you kill Mist Dragon, then you get a key item check with Rydia's mom in Mist Town. But the thing is, you don't know where Mist Dragon is. It can be literally anywhere in the game. So a lot of times you'll see folks going after different boss locations, even though they're not objectives. There's no key items because they're looking for that Mist Dragon. You don't want to accidentally not check a boss somewhere and then the Mist Dragon is there. And wow, yeah, Mooney hit
That's right. Yeah, in the vanilla game, you talk to Edward in the bed in Troya, and you get the Twin Harp. In these tournaments, we have the free key items flag set, so that means you don't get to just talk to Eddie for a free key item. So we have you hunt the Mist Dragon instead.
Yeah, and it's definitely it's a whole different ball game. It's definitely like a huge wild card in these because everything else is in a set location. You know where to look, you know where to go or whatever. But that Mist Dragon is so it's totally elusive. You don't know where it is, so it can really make or break a race sometimes. But I think it just adds a really interesting element. And we have a Twin Harp actually at Sheila 1. So
so much for my scheme.
Yeah, so much for your scheme. But still, hopefully we have some required music because that's a great meme here.
Yeah, music is one of the many cool things about this game. We randomize the music that plays during the Dark Elf fight sequence in the Magnus Cave. It is not Edward's theme most of the time. It is one of a wide variety of other songs, many of which were implemented by Calm Lamity, one of our developers.
The music is always great. It's from typically like songs from other games and such. And a lot of them work so well on the harp. It's just amazing to hear it. And my understanding actually is that was implemented originally. Nobody knew it existed, and so people would go in and do the harp, and they were like freaked out about it because it was super cool. So that hit off really well, and ever since it's been a huge meme and a huge staple of Free Enterprise.
Yeah, I've run into a few great Chrono Trigger tracks lately. Chrono Trigger being one of the few games I like more than this one.
Chrono Trigger has some of the best music in video games. The end. Yeah, so everything they have here, everything Chrono Trigger has here, everything Mitsuda has, including Chrono Cross. I think there's a couple of Chrono Cross songs. There's a lot of different good stuff. So we have actually both racers here on either side of the bridge. Mooney is on the Mylon and Friends side, the first boss pit facing Pale Dim, and then Octomam is on the Mylon Z spot doing the back attack. But it seems like he's getting taken down pretty quickly because Octomam hits fast at first, but once you start hitting, the more and more you hit, you'll see those tentacles going down, which means that actually Octomam gets a lot slower. And so once Octomam gets slow enough, you barely get hit at all, and you can just finish the job.
Yeah, which means the vanilla Octomam spot is quite fast, so if there's a required boss there, it can occasionally be difficult at low levels. But yes, we are talking about Chrono Trigger ever so briefly, Scala. I may or may not have a Chrono Trigger inspired naming scheme in mind for the next time I'm on Restream.
Chrono Trigger is really awesome, everybody. It's really awesome. But also, really awesome is Final Fantasy IV, so definitely try this game as well, maybe, sometimes.
Yes, and Lordbobbree is through that Octoman. We're going to soon find out what the key item is and what our third boss is.
And not just that, we get Superpower Tella. So Tella, what you get here when you do this check in the Paladin Cave is, if you have a Cecil, or wherever there's a Cecil, they go from Dark Knight to Paladin, which gives them a whole lot of better gear to check out. And then you also get Tella getting all of his spells back, which are almost all of the white and black spells in the game, excluding Nuke and Quake and a couple other ones. But he becomes such a good...
he also does not learn Holy.
Right, exactly. So he becomes a great utility character because you get a lot of stuff like Stone and Weak. Those can be really helpful. We get a Pan. Okay, that's super good. Well, that's also especially good for Lordbobbree because there's no way he's going to miss Sheila, because I almost guarantee he's going to go down and check that Pan spot right now, and he'll go back up and find everything.
And it does mean that the time loss for doing a Sylph Cave without the Pan is kind of negated because both of our runners did it.
True, yeah. So yeah, one of the things people like to do sometimes is try and basically single shot Fabul, so to defend, and then also do the Sheila 1 and 2 checks. That doesn't often happen, but sometimes it works out. Typically, a lot of people end up doing the Fabul check and then go underground, maybe get the Pan there. But the Pan is such a nice item because you get two key items from it, and then the Sheila check is a third one, and Fabul is a fourth. So if you can do all of those at once, it's just a huge chunk of free key items for you.
And Lordbobbree threw that Baigon at the Dark Knight spot. Will get his fully unlocked Tella. Will have a very strong utility caster, constrained mostly by his limited MP pool and his lackluster casting stats.
Yes, indeed. That's the one downside. Tella, yeah, he's not the best caster, but if you can get a Soma drop, he'll up his MP to 100, and then you can actually use Meteor. And Meteor is a great spell. Even if you're a weak caster, you can still do like 8,000 damage to everybody. It takes a while to cast, especially for Tella, but it's an awesome spell.
But more importantly, having that Soma drop and getting 100 MP lets you cast a week 4 times before having to refill. Makes that D-Machine grind just a little bit smoother.
That's incredibly true, yes. That's really nice for D-Machine grinds, yeah, because they're 25 magic points apiece. Then you don't have to heal up the magic points as often to do the grind, and sometimes you have to do that a number of times, so it really... That one extra charge each time is really helpful.
So, bet you that Lordbobbree is going to go right over to the Sylph Cave and start getting free items for Pan-related violence.
Yeah, that's almost always the way to go, because, yeah, like I said, the concentration of key items, and they're so fast to get, they're totally free. There's absolutely no reason not to grab them as soon as you can, because you don't want to skip your freebies, is one of the other rules of Free Enterprise, because...
Yep, check your objectives, check your freebies.
Exactly. Because, yeah, objectives, you already have to do them. You want to just get them done, and there's a key item behind them that's also a requirement or an objective. You don't want to be behind because you skipped it. And then freebies, it's like, okay, you can take them out in a couple of seconds. Maybe you have to go out of your way a little bit, but I think it's still worth getting those done as soon as you can, because if that's a key item, you don't want to forget about something that's completely free and be super behind everyone else. Yang with getting slapped with the Pan and get a Legend Sword, so that is super spicy. That is one of the pieces of Forge. You need the Legend Sword and Adamant Rock. Once you get those, you can forge the Legend Sword. So that super changes everything here, actually. Now we don't need to... Well, no, we still need Darkness Crystal because, yeah. But we might not need to go to the moon, depending on where that Darkness... or where the Adamant Rock is.
That's right. Darkness Crystal is still required because you have to raise the big whale, but if you find the pass on the overworld, you could do your grind and go up with objectives 1, 2, and 4. Sorry, 1, 3, and 4, and just ignore the White Spear altar entirely.
Exactly, and if you get the pass, you don't even need to go to the moon at all. You just need to pick up the whale, and you're done with it. So the pass gives you an alternative route to Z. Basically, you just go through back entryway in Troya Tavern. I think it is.
Yeah, it's the pub in Troya. What in vanilla FF4 is a little dancing show, now gives you a shortcut directly to the final boss.
That's a super spicy thing to get. Even though that pass doesn't give you a key item number, that can save you a lot of walking, because walking all the way down the lunar subterranean on the moon is like a good 4-minute affair, whereas you can just take paths and it's like 15 seconds.
Yeah, 3 or 4 minutes to go from the surface of the blue planet down to the lunar core.
Now, one thing I find super interesting here, Lordbobbree is actually fading those 2 Sheila checks and doing the Dwarf Castle check first. So it's going to be a little longer. You know, it's not bad because you can do your warp glitch here because you have a Tele with warp at this point. You could definitely take this out probably pretty quickly because you don't need a whole lot of levels to do this.
Yeah, sold that lightsaber to buy some sirens.
Oh, and sirens were in dwarf. Okay, so that's a good grind right there. Sirens allow you to make some omelets with these eggs on a couple peninsulas on the west side of the underground, and those eggs give you, what is it, like 32,000 experience?
Yeah, 34,000 experience for a yellow dragon egg. And for those who don't know, what a siren does, it's a Japanese item that was dummied out in the US version of the game originally, and what it does is it will summon the most rare encounter you can find in a given tile.
Exactly. Now, some places the rarest boss or the rarest encounter is actually not great for leveling at all, but some places it's the best. Like this one here and on the moon, you can get the double gold dragons. Those are super great for leveling as well. And it looks like Mumuni there's a little divergence here. Mumuni is taking the pan and going up and talking to Sheila, so he's going to get Sheila 2 really quickly, whereas Lordbobbree is sticking with the dwarf here for the time being.
Yeah, and dealing with some lunar dragons for his trouble. And there's a rat tail on Mooni's side for Sheila 2, so still could be required.
If there's a hook somewhere, I mean, there of course there will be a hook somewhere, but if the hook is somewhere that, yeah, you end up checking the rat tail, and the rat tail could have darkness, or the rat tail could lead to darkness, depending. So that's still good to have, and 7 key items on Mooni's side, so really getting close to 10 already, and haven't done a whole lot of work here. Unfortunately, Lordbobbree's getting kind of wrecked by these D-Lunars. That's, super punchy there.
Yeah, he has a very physical party, and you don't want to use physical attacks against lunar dragons if you can help it.
Right, so what happens if you do a physical attack on the D-Lunars, they both immediately pop up a wall and start reflecting viruses at you. And reflected spells do more damage. They really hurt a lot, so they'll end up like knocking out your whole party if you're not careful. So you want to do either physical attacks that are not just the attack button, like jump or power for Yang, or you want to cast spells. Those are definitely the ways to go. Or you can do some of the special spicy strats, like there's a reflect frog thing, which is a whole other thing.
Oh yeah, the frog thing is hilarious. So most bosses in the game have this flag set on them. We call it the boss flag for obvious reasons, and it makes you immune to all status effects. The lunar dragons have this breath attack that inflicts a variety of status ailments, including frog. During one of our previous events, somebody discovered that ability can be reflected, and also that for some reason, when they're using that ability, the G-Lunars suppress their boss flag. So that means if you have reflect on enough of your characters, you can turn them into frogs. And then it doesn't really matter what you do. They will attempt to wall and virus, but they can't cast them. They're frogs.
Exactly. So they just become free prey. Even if you can only get one of them turned into frogs, it's still mostly free fight. And Moonmooney did the mist check, so he's got objective 3, and Tella just brought Tella as a bomb to destroy Mist Village, and it looks like Moonmooney is not taking that.
Yeah, does not want second Rosa right now.
If nothing comes up, that second Rosa could still be Mist Dragon. Don't count it out just yet. Quick check of Waterfall, and we actually have a Water Hag, so that's unfortunate. You don't want to get a Water Hag this early. That's a free boss, even on the moon. I mean, they can be punchy, but you really only have to hit it 3 times to go through the little dialogue, and then it's done.
Yeah, that's right. Water Hag being Edward's nemesis in the Kaipo lake during vanilla game.
Right, exactly. That's the one that's a little cutscene thing when you're like all asleep or whatever, and he sees Anna show up, to him in a vision. So that's nice to have as a boss here, because you can take that one out pretty quickly usually, and finding free bosses in places that are not free is really spicy. Like sometimes you can go into the moon and go down and find a boss that's, you know, almost free with your current party makeup and actually get a lot of experience and good loot there that other people might miss.
Yeah, speaking of the reflect shenanigans, we did have one frog on Lordbobbree's side.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I see one is that Porum cast as frog there. But yeah, this is D-Lunars getting taken down here. Now, unfortunately, even if D-Lunars get taken down and the party stays up, there's only 2 characters up, and we don't know who the second boss is yet, and it could be really bad.
Yeah. Believe once you're down to just one of the Lunar Dragons, it will just use fire in response to everything, so you really want to try to burn them down as evenly as possible.
Best way to go. If you can do evenly, it's better. Because yeah, fire. Even though you're not getting reflect viruses, fire is still really bad. It does a lot of damage.
It's one of those attacks that does damage based on your percentage of max hit points.
Oh gosh, and it's percentage of max, so it doesn't even go down like Kainazo's does, which is the percentage of current hit points.
Right, Kainazo deals damage based on his current hit points. Fire, like the wave attacks that Leviathan and Ogopogo do, is based on your maximum hit points.
Gotcha, yes. Oh, it's yours. It's not even the boss's. I see.
Correct.
So it's like some
you'll notice that there's each character's taking a different amount of damage on Bobbree's side.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't realize that. Ooh, and Mumuni's doing using weak on the Dark Elf here. So that's what the Dark Elf, when it turns into the dragon does not have the boss bit anymore. So you can cast stuff like weak on it, which makes it super quick. And we got a tower key, so tower is now in play. There's a lot of stuff in play on Mumuni's side.
Yeah, and let's see if we take that Palom.
Actually,
yeah,
take
swapping out twins.
Oh, okay, interesting. So
yeah, replace the Porum with the Palom.
Right now, Mumuni has a number of different things to check. He's got, well, I mean, I guess he could go into Fey March, but he's got both towers. He's got Baron check. He's got Harp. So that's a number of things to be able to throw out there, and there could definitely.
Yeah, but I don't expect either player is gonna check Twin Harp right now. Neither of them have a ton of physical damage.
Right. So that's one of the downsides to Twin Harp is that if you don't have the magic defense in that boss spot is extremely high, almost to the point where most spells don't do damage at all. They just they flicker out. So it's not.
And we see a Pain Man over on Bobbree's side, and also changes it to Twin, replacing a Porum with a Palom.
Ooh, this is close, but I think that cure on Kane will finish it out. What Cecil does here is does 3 waves of these attacks, and you have to survive all 3 of the attacks, and then you get this cutscene thing, and the boss ends. But those attacks can be really gross in certain spots, because that is, I believe the Dark Wave is based off of the strength of the current spot. So if you're in a spot like Leviathan or King Queen Eblin, for example, those can be really, really gross spots to find DKC. But other places like Mylon and Friends, the first spot on the ordeals, you do like 20 damage per hit. It's nothing. But yeah, we've got Mumuni taking that Baron key that we got at the beginning here and checking Baron out, which is
thoroughly looting the Baron Waterway.
Baron Waterway, again, just like other key item gated spots, is a really good spot to find good treasures. So oftentimes I see a lot of folks, and myself included, checking at least some of the quick chests on the way down in the Waterway, and then often going most of the way over to Odin and checking the chest on the way there. So Lordbobbree just did the warp glitch and got a spoon out of Luca Cave. So I think now he still has to walk back and get the other check. So
that's right. He hasn't received the key item from the King of the Dwarves yet.
Right. So spoon is a key item, and it's good for throwing by edge. Oh, and the Luca key. There you go. So that's another key item that's useless, unfortunately, for him. But
is Dathis nearby? I think we need to have a talk.
No kidding, right? Yeah. But yeah, the key item differences are pretty staggering here, actually. But the things that Lordbobbree got are definitely not progression. So it looks like Mumuni has one of the things that Mumuni has is going to lead to darkness, most likely.
Yeah. And there's one other use for that spoon. In this tournament, we do have the spoon flag turned on. That means We can turn Edward into a glass cannon by letting him equip that spoon, which he normally can't do in vanilla. And he has 255 attack power while he's equipped with that spoon, so he can dish out some hurt.
Oh, sorry, Fluffy Mittens. I apologize. So one of the things you can do in Luca, usually you only really do this if you don't have access to the moon and you don't have sirens. You can go into Luca Cave, and the doors there, especially if you have 10 key items, are pretty decent for grinding XP. They're really tough to fight, and they do this disrupt attack that will insta-kill you. But if you can set things up properly, you can get a reflect out on that. You can reflect the disrupt back to the wall and kill it in one shot. An antlion at the Beigen spot is taken out by Mumuni, so we're going to see who the usurper of the throne is.
I just noticed the naming pattern of these two racers. Lordbobbree is the first two characters of each character's name, and Mumuni is the rest of them.
Oh, is that right? No kidding. I totally did not notice that. That's hilarious. I was trying to figure out what it was. It's just a couple letters. Yeah, it's Pa on Lordbobbree's side, and then Lum on the Mumuni side for Palum. That's pretty clever.
Yeah, Lordbobbree returns the pan to Sheila, gets the twin harp, is in better space to try and do that check than Mooney because he's just got more fighters.
Right, exactly. And he's got 9 key items, so we already... Wait, where's the tower key now? Thinking.
I believe the tower key was the Baron Inn.
That's right. I think you're right, yeah. So if he does Baron Inn, he might get 10 key items here and be able to start grinding, because the sirens are already available. Now we got Mylon and friends usurping the throne here on Mumuni's side. This is a pretty free fight. You can just kind of... If you have J items here that do, like, group elemental spell attacks, those can be really good at taking out all of the zombies. You have to be a little careful. If you kill either Mylon first or the zombies first, then the other characters will get a lot stronger, although it takes a little while for Mylon to start punching really hard. But those ghasts, if you take out Mylon first, will wreck your face.
Yeah, and we see a pretty loaded shop over at the Troya pub. We've got silk webs, star rages, and life potions.
And illusions. Yeah, so that's a lot of stuff. I'm a big fan of illusions, because sometimes you have bosses that you got to take down. The illusion is the blink spell, which deflects 2 physical attacks, but you can just use it on yourself. So it's really nice to have if you don't have a lot of white mages, or if you have to throw down illusion, you have to throw down that blink really fast, and you can't get spells off because it's a fast spot. But we have Lordbobbree doing music. It is coming, friends.
Yeah, another nice thing about the illusions is it makes cover strats with Cecil even more powerful, because he can just take every turn re-upping the illusion and let the rest of your party focus on dealing damage.
Exactly. That's one thing that I've noticed my nemesis, PixelTamer, did really well in a lot of different races we've done. And it's kind of been a blind spot for me, but using Cecil Backroad and covered, and then throwing illusions on him and such, he can basically last forever, and you can just do attacks and no one will get hit.
That's right, I don't remember if it was against you or against someone else, but there was a seed where I had to fight Mylon Z at the Leviathan spot, and Macro Cecil with crystal armor was taking 1 damage a hit.
Ooh, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, and Cecil has such good armor too. Like if you give him like crystal gear, and just have him covering like weak party members, if they're like down, and weakened, he'll automatically cover as long as he continues to do an attack.
Yes, as long as he takes an action other than defend.
Right, that's it. If he doesn't, as long as he takes an action other than defend and does not like use a status effect like Bacchus Wine will stop cover. He'll just start attacking.
I believe it's as long as you can input a command.
But yeah, as we were talking about before, we've got music coming up. The harps are coming out here. So, we're going to be listening to one of quite a number of tunes. I think we're over 50, maybe? I don't recall the exact number, but there's quite a few of them.
And I guess it's time for us to be quiet for a moment and let the chat enjoy this music.
Psst, Adamant.
Yeah, and we've got the theme to everybody's favorite flame dog, Red 13 or Anunnaki, depending on what you prefer to call him.
Yeah, this might be my favorite Final Fantasy song of any Final Fantasy game. I love the Cosmo Canyon song. It's so good. Oh my god, I can't even. But that's awesome. I love hearing good FF tunes. This is definitely one of the best bangers out there, though.
Yeah, and in the garbage can at the bottom of Baron, we found the Adamant Rock. So we have access to Excalibur now.
Exactly.
The very spicy Cocoa Shop.
Yes, so that's objective 1. So Mumuni is literally Darkness Crystal away from like immediate go mode. So, and then we'll have the objectives done before you even hit the moon. So the moon could definitely be completely haunted if there is a pass somewhere, which I'm very interested in seeing. But yeah, thankfully Lordbobbree has pretty good physical offense here. So that the boss Smile on Z went down pretty fast here. We're gonna see what we got. Is it required music? Dun dun dun. I mean, not that Stardust Rods aren't really good.
Oh yeah, Stardust Rod is the best black magish weapon in the game with a plus 15 to your casting stat and lets you cast Comet as an item.
Exactly. They're so powerful. They basically make any early level black mage like immediately like 2 or 3 times as strong. Getting that 15 wisdom is a ton in terms of stats here. So
yep, and Lordbobbree is keeping it. I absolutely no fault in doing that.
Yeah, when you've got a Palom in your party, you would definitely walk this out, especially if you have exit. There's no reason not to. The reset isn't worth it here. You want to have that Stardust Rock. Plus, the other thing it can happen is if you use it as an item, it actually casts Stardust, which is basically like a, I don't know what it's called, like a comet, but it's like it attacks all the enemies, and it's pretty healthy, a pretty good, pretty strong attack. So that can really be useful, especially in early bosses and such.
Alright, so I think we're running low on places to check right now. I think we've got the tower key, and we've got the potential for a spicy Mist Dragon at the Mega Sisters.
Well, the other thing we have, because Darkness Crystal can be behind literally anything, we've got the Odin spot, and we've got both Fey March bosses. So any one of those gross spots, and they're all pretty gross, could definitely lead to darkness. But yeah, shortly we'll be getting a reprise of that wonderful Cosmo Canyon music from Mumuni. So yeah, both of these runners validated the seed, well, at least with music. I don't know if they did Job Dwarf, but they did the music.
I don't believe either of our runners have actually gone to Tomra yet.
Thinking. I believe you're right, because yeah, Dwarf ended up having the Sirens. So I think that was the only... Well, oh, and right, Hourglasses were in Fey March. So I think Tomra was totally skipped. And thankfully, Alicel, our streamer, is going to give you a lovely second, a lovely encore of the music again. So enjoy. I won't lie, I wanted us to be quiet again because I love this song. But yeah, while we're seeing a little bit of repeat going on here, actually the Mylon and Friends at the same time. Oops, I had myself unmuted, sorry. We have races tomorrow on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We have Classy Badge versus Gundam Spaz on the Free Enterprise channel. At 6 p.m. Eastern, we have Poydrak versus Smapety in a battle of the admins on RPG Limit Break. At 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Crimson Avix versus Kedril on Free Enterprise. At 8 p.m. on Randomania, we have Min the Mage versus Chokosura. And then we also have one race on Sunday, which is Marty56 versus Alicel at 3 p.m. Eastern on Free Enterprise. So stay tuned. There's definitely more races coming all weekend.
Yes, it is the classiest of badgers.
Very classy. I mean, honestly, all badgers look classy because it looks like they're wearing like a suit, kind of, sort of. I don't know. Work with me here. But yeah, Mooney is also, it looks like, taking that Stardust Rod, so yeah, you can't blame him. That's so powerful. So, and then Lordbobbree is about to get, gosh,
the Adamant Rock.
Thank you, Adamant Rock. So, while we're still kind of chilling for a minute, what have you thought of this tournament so far, Pixel?
It's been a lot of fun. Had quite a few good races. Kind of got my butt kicked a bit in the group phase, but other than that, it's going all right.
Yeah, very same on the group race, butt kicking. And then I've done a little bit better in the current hook route, which has been fun. Even though my chances are pretty low at advancing to table, I'm still having a lot of fun. Honestly, like the best part is just racing. It's also doing the Restreamed team stuff is so exciting for me too. So it's been a blast, and I love hanging out with everybody in chat and talking about games and stuff. It's been cool.
Yeah, I continue to maintain that the community is one of the best things about this game. Everyone's just so positive and supportive, and we're all here to have fun.
No doubt, absolutely. But yeah, now we got Mooney and Lordbobbree basically in tandem here, doing the X-Cal forging. So we're going to hopefully see what's in that Cookall shop really quickly. And we've got Defense Sword, White Spear. Oh my gosh. So Kane is super powered on Lordbobbree's side. I think Mooney might be a little upset that he doesn't have that Kane anymore, but that's really good. And the X-Cal and Objective 1 completed.
Yeah, that's a very spicy Cookall shop. With the Defense Sword, the White Spear, and the Moon Veil, all very useful items.
Right, so the Moon Veil is like a Star Veil, except it also has infinite illusion status, which means you cannot get hit by any physical attacks for the rest of the battle, even if you're fighting a boss. So that can make extremely tough or impossible fights trivial. They might take a while because you only have one character left alive, but you can kill anything.
Right. Question from chat. Haven't played Final Fantasy IV in a while. What do you need in order to finish the game? First, you need a way to get to Threemus. That is going to either be the Darkness Crystal, which lets you race Lunar Whale and get to the moon, or the Pass, which lets you take a shortcut from the pub in Troya. As well, you need the crystal used to transform Threemus. In this randomizer, any character can use it, not just Paladin Cecil, because you're not guaranteed to have Paladin Cecil in your party. And in this flag set, you get the crystal by completing 3 of the 4 objectives you see on the screen.
Right, yeah, Ku, I don't know if you realize this. This is Free Enterprise, which is a Final Fantasy IV ROM hack and randomizer. So you're not going to have the same route to Z as you would in a regular game. However, all the same stuff is there. The items are just remixed, the bosses are remixed, the characters are remixed. So you have different paths, and you start with the airship, which is a great way to just open the whole game up immediately.
And Mooney goes through the treasury in Tomra, does not show us Job Dwarf, and is rewarded by getting no items whatsoever.
Well, that's what happens when you don't check Job Dwarf. You get punished. Not actually, but I like to think that. And Bob is starting his grind too, because 10, I had to do the count there, but 10 key items, so he's getting the double XP right now, which is great for him.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier,
super fast.
Sirens summon the rarest encounter in a given location. Here it's these yellow dragon eggs. They don't do anything until you hit them once, so you can just quake them down or use a coffin to instant kill them, and you get 34,000 experience base, double to 68,000 if you have 10 key items, and just get some levels quickly.
Exactly, and what's nice about, one of the most important things about this grind, especially after do a lot of eggs, is setting up your characters in the right slots so that they go in the right order, and having all of your items that you're going to need if you're using sirens, if you're going to use coffins to kill the eggs immediately. You want all that stuff immediately accessible. That way, you can do the siren attack, the siren fight, way faster. If you don't have those things perfectly set up, if you have a character fight twice or whatever to take out the egg, then it can add like 10 to 15 seconds on each egg, and if you do 10 of them, that's 150 seconds, a minute, a couple minutes actually.
Yeah, and here we see that counterattack of hatching because the virus spell is not quite enough to kill it.
Right, that's the other thing that's a little nerve-wracking is that Yellow Dragon comes out and can actually kick your butt if you're not careful.
Yeah, I believe it uses a thunder attack that, like other attacks in this game, is based on the target's maximum hit points.
Right. Oh, is it another maximum hit points? That makes sense.
I think so. I think it is a quarter of your maximum HP.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Because I've definitely gone in there with the really low HP and just gotten wrecked because I didn't heal. But yeah, for that, you might, if you're really low level, you probably want to heal up before you start. Definitely always save before you grind. Do not forget to do that. Looks like Moonmooney has now taken the Dwarf Castle dive, so he's going to get the Spoon and Luca key, which I think will then put him at 11 key items. So he will also be in prime position to do the double XP grinding with those eggs.
And we see Mooney using the Cure 3 potions offensively to try and burn down these lunar dragons. As undead enemies, they are undead enemies, you can do what every Final Fantasy game does and lets you heal them to death.
Exactly, that's one of the cool things. Honestly, this might be the first game. I don't know if Final Fantasy 1 did this, but yeah, you can actually just literally use Cure 2, Cure 3 potions on them, or you can cast healing spells directly on them and do damage. And unfortunately, Mooney also
took the reset.
Yeah, they both had real trouble on those D-Lunars, and it looks like he's noping out and going to go take on Tower. So we're going to see Tower for the first time.
And we know that that's the right play, because there wasn't a whole lot of value in Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 key items, but yeah, 2 not useful key items. I mean, I guess the Spoon could be useful, but none of the characters we have here are able to use it. Oh, thanks, Dr. Cossack. So, okay, Final Fantasy 1, the original did not, but 2, I guess the Japanese 2, not this one, did, so that's interesting.
Yeah, 2 is such an interesting game compared to the rest of it, in that your characters don't gain levels in the traditional sense, they get more stats depending on what you do with them. So if they take hits, they get more hit points. If you do physical attacks, you get more strength, etc. Which can lead to some early game grinding strategies of just going out, fighting a random in battle, and hitting yourself to raise your strength and hit points.
Hold up a sec. I think that Moonmooney might be doing a half tower play.
I think he is.
Because he just went into the cannon room with the tower key, and so we're going to get an easy insta-kill because the boss there has no hit points, which you don't hate seeing Odin with super low hit points, so you don't have to deal with him in some really spicy spot. But that's going to, if you can do half tower, do this and run back out. But also at the top of tower in the Dr. Luge spot, there's another boss there that you get key items from. So sometimes it's interesting and spicy, especially if you feel like you're behind, to just do the half tower play and hope that it gives you something.
And I would not be surprised if both of our runners consider themselves behind right now.
Yeah, I mean, just the way this game is, this race so far has been really open with just like the magma key was immediately available pretty much, and then everything has been open. So many key items going to so many different places. Baron key was literally a starting spot, so like there's a lot of stuff that you're kind of doing in different orders, but they all have access to. You just don't know which one is the actual thing you want.
And speaking of doing things in different orders, it looks like Mooney is not doing the half tower special. He is just doing the cannon room first on his way up to the top of the tower.
Okay, interesting. I mean, that's a perfectly valid strat. As long as you save, I mean, the downside is if you come all the way up to the top of tower and save, and then tower is useless, then you have to start back from there and basically walk all the way down.
Yeah, and we see the Calbrena dolls, one quake, and they should be toast.
Yeah, well, so this spot has pretty high hit points, but when you divide it in 6, that really makes it a lot more doable. So you probably will not see a big Calbrena, which occurs if you have just the blue or just the orange dolls left. At a certain point, they'll form up into the big doll, and then if you don't defeat the big doll in time, then they'll become the small dolls again. Although it looks like, okay, yeah, Moonmooney is using an hourglass. So the interesting thing about this boss is the cows, or the blue ones, do not have a boss bit. So you can use the hourglass on them and stop them. and then just beat up the other front dolls and then take them out at your leisure. So it makes this fight extremely free.
Yeah, and PK pointing out that our runners are most healing by the Darkness Crystal. That is absolutely correct. This is a Darkness Crystal hunt, the seed.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically literally been the whole race so far. Has just been, okay, we have to do constant key item checks. Just check all the key items possible. And I wonder if, they're thinking at this point, like, okay, well, trying to out-meta the other one. Like, well, maybe this check is one that they didn't do. Or maybe, whatever. And we don't, again, we don't know where the Mist Dragon is. The Mist Dragon could be somewhere gross, and that could be Darkness Crystal. And I'm so hoping for that.
Again, Mist Dragon a package.
Yes, please. Sorry, racers, but yes, please. Honestly, we could not have it. We could also have it where, if you don't have the Earth Crystal, you can check the first Zot boss and fight the first Zot boss. That could also be Mist Dragon. So that would be really interesting, too.
PK also throwing out the idea that it could be at the Sealed Cave spot, since with the Warp Glitch on, our runners really have no reason to use the Luca Key.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a couple of really spicy opportunities for Mist Dragon to show up in a really gross spot. And who knows? We haven't seen the Darkness Crystal until I just said that, and then the Darkness Crystal appeared, and Mooney has Go mode and Moon access right now.
Lordbobbree is probably going to be right behind him because it looks like he's doing a keyless tower run.
Yeah, honestly, in this circumstance, it was unfortunate Mooney did the tower check first because that added a lot of extra time. If he just went up to the top and got that Darkness Crystal, he probably wouldn't even bother checking. Well, I guess maybe you'd still check.
That cutscene's going to add almost a minute.
I guess you'd still check because there's that slight chance you get a pass. And if you don't get that pass there, that would be a nightmare if your opponent
get a pass, you get a powerful weapon. It's not entirely a bad idea.
Yeah, it's probably quick enough. So either way, but yeah, we'll see what Mooney gets here. But yeah, Lordbobbree's about to be right on his tail and getting Go mode as well. Not only that, but I believe that Lordbobbree has basically completed his grind. Like I think his characters might be totally done and ready for Z, and Mooney still has a bunch of grinding left to do. So I think Lordbobbree might be a little bit ahead at this point.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at his hit point totals once this doll fight gets started.
Well, the doll has to dance first, so you just have to kind of wait a second. That's Sid at like 4,000 HP. That's beautiful. Oh, and
hey,
what did I say? Okay,
it.
So my lucky numbers are 12, 15, and 36. I don't know. Because I apparently accidentally called both of those items, which is pretty funny. But this is the place where you don't want to... Now Mooney doesn't have to climb Darkness, and Lordbobbree may or may not actually... Well, no, I'm sorry. Lordbobbree does not have Tower Key, because Lordbobbree did not do Baron Inn. So he can't check, and he cannot get that pass without checking. And if I were him, probably would not check that
probably going to head up to start running down.
Yeah, so they're actually going to be taking somewhat different routes here because Lordbobbree's going to have to take that moon unless he does Baron Inn, which is very unlikely. Whereas Mooney could just kind of stay here underground, crack some eggs, and just walk his way over to Z. So we're going to be seeing a Z fight not too long from now. It's going to be maybe 10 minutes or less. Go mode obtained. Crystal obtained. The crystal is the item you need to finish Z. You use that as an item against the Zeroma's kind of weird, orby, hairy-looking cloud thing, and then it turns into the actual final boss you have to fight.
Chat asking me to put a shoe on my head to prove that I am not recording this. Even if I did, you wouldn't be able to see it because I don't have a camera turned on.
It is currently the 4th of September, 2020 at 9:16 p.m. Eastern. Does that help? Is that enough? I don't know.
Hey, Scala, do we have video on demand list yet?
Right. Oh, hi. So Mooney actually went up to the moon and found coffins there. Okay, it looks like maybe he's not taking them, but that's pretty interesting. Coffins are great actually for the egg grind because you can just use it and it immediately kills an egg. So even if you don't have enough strength to do a one-shot, you can just use that as an item, and it's a super fast way to grind.
Yeah, Lordbobbree took a moment there in the Tamer shop, seemed to be considering options, and is going to go find that empty treasury.
Validate. A commercial designer.
Commercial designer.
Right. Validated. Thank you, Lordbobbree. You are the winner of the people. Yeah, it looks like Moomini's actually doing a little bit of checking. Maybe he's looking around for some items. I don't know if he has a silk web yet. I don't recall seeing that in any shops, so there might be a couple things he's kind of eyeballing here before he gets started on the grind and then goes take on Z.
And Bobbree coming in to raise the Lunar Whale and get his crystal.
But yeah, they're both officially in go mode now, so curious if anybody goes to do the vanilla white spear altar. Probably not. Well, yeah, especially Lordbobbree, who has the levels necessary at this point, I think.
Now, I think the only things on people's mind right now are getting to Threemus and doing the grind in Mooney's case.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and it looks like... Okay, yeah, Mooney's still checking all the shops, so he must be just missing on something. I'm guessing it's the silk webs, honestly.
Yes, and we know those are in the pub in Troya.
Oh, I did not... Okay, thank you. Yeah, I did not notice that. So yeah, he'll find that right now and be ready to go. Or... Oh, okay, good. He's just
could just be checking the first.
I was just worried that he missed the one shop that had silk webs, but no, I think he's probably fine. And no, chat, don't get the Z flags out yet. It's not time. Not allowed.
Did Mooney actually buy silk webs?
No, he just looked and left. I think he probably just wanted to see that they existed. Now he knows, and he's gonna go grind, and he'll come back and grab one. Scala Katie, I'm gonna get the newspaper out. Don't even start. Okay, you can start. You're awesome, so you can start. So Mooney is now...
Put those flags down, or I swear I'll turn this race around.
Exactly. Unfortunately, Alicel, who's doing the restream, would be the one that would have to turn this race around. We would be unable to, as our capacity here is just speaking in microphones. But maybe I just yell a lot and make funny noises. I don't know.
That probably just gets you muted.
That's also true. That would, unfortunately, yeah, Alicel could just move me out of the channel, so that's not gonna work either. Sorry, Alicel. You're very good, and thank you for restreaming, and you're very good and awesome. And thank you again, Baka, for hitting the buttons and making all the things light up and making them pretty.
Yep, Lordbobbree is checking that moon character. Finds our third Tella of the seed.
Love the Tellas. Maybe not more than one, but love the Tellas. And actually, I'm thinking now. I think I know what Mooney maybe was doing. He was looking for some stuff, but now he didn't have sirens yet. So now he's got the sirens, and he can actually get his grind going.
Yeah. Should we talk about that silly little flag while we're waiting? We don't have to ask any specific questions yet, but we can at least enlighten people as to what that flag is referring to.
Oh, it's too early. Okay, well, we can talk about it a little bit, but actually, I guess sort of the origin of that is that in the original or earlier iterations of the free enterprise, I guess maybe it's still there. I guess you can still turn it on. There's a Z flag. I guess it was originally you had to turn it on to get all the 450 plus sprites that Scala Kitty and others made. And now it's just automatically on. You have to turn it off. But that Z flag is the Z for Threemus, and the question mark for not knowing who we're going to see just yet, which is a question we have to deal with later, but I can't talk about that now because I'm getting in trouble.
Yeah. We randomize almost everything in this game. We don't randomize the location of Threemus because he is just rude, and you wouldn't want to encounter him outside of the final boss location because you just not have a good time. So, like Groundflier said, we randomize his appearance. We have 450 plus sprites from a wide variety of games and media, and at some point we'll find out what that is, and we might find out in a few minutes depending on if Lordbobbree decides to do the White Spear Altar or just go full throttle into Threemus.
Yeah, I'm curious, but it looks like he's just kind of hidetailing it at this point, so I'm guessing he's going to be heading into the depths of the lunar subterrane momentarily. Just going to do a quick save to... he's probably just moving stuff around, getting stuff ready for the fight. Sometimes it's good to kind of get a little bit of menuing done beforehand, get all the items that you need up at the top so that you don't have to be messing around with everything else. You can just have everything accessible.
And meanwhile, Moonmoony is cracking eggs with a stone spell, one of the various ways that you can shenanigans these eggs down.
Yeah, there's a number of insta-kills. Oftentimes if you have Palom, you can just do like Virus or Quake strats where you can throw down a Virus or Quake immediately and kill it. But yeah, you can also use the Tele special spells like Fatal, I think, is the other one, and Stone, which will insta-kill.
Alright, we're getting into the Lunar Core. We're probably safe to ask a certain question at this point.
Okay, but yes, we have, as we were talking, 450 plus sprites that the wonderful Scala Kitty helped make most of those, and she did tons and tons of work making these painstakingly polished posteriors. I'm quite excited about them, and I really want to know, as you all do, whose butt are we going to kick tonight? Close enough, Fluffy Bits. I'll let the flag with a Z and a question mark on it go. That works. But yeah, a lot of these sprites come from pretty much everywhere. Like, a lot of them are other games or bosses from other games and such, or other nods to other games, all sorts of things. But then there's a lot of them that are just kind of interesting memes or jokes. It's a variety of hilarious and scary and horrifying sprites that are out there. So it's super fun to see what we end up getting here. Because
I've definitely not had nightmares about ha-ha-ha-mus.
Oh, well, I've seen, what is it, Wrinklemus? This like creepy-looking weird grub thing that comes from, I think, Mario Paint or something. I don't even remember. It's a bizarre thing, but it's super. Oh no, that was Cookie Clicker. I'm sorry, but it's horrifying. Grr, erg. And that is King K. Rollus. Well,
hide your bananas, friends.
Yes. No Donkey Kong here, unfortunately, but he's still a pretty menacing fight and a pretty menacing boss. And as you just saw, Silk Web just got used. What that does is it actually applies 2 casts of slow on an enemy, which is the maximum amount you can actually slow them down. And then you get counter nuked, which bites. But what you do, especially at the beginning here, you can use it at any time, and that counter nuke actually resets the magic power. So then the Big Bang actually uses a lower magic power number, which ends up making a nerfed Big Bang, which makes that fight a lot easier. But actually, it looks like this is a pretty fast fight, because I think Threemus already did his shake again. So I wonder if the Tele does not have a curse ring on, because it seems like this is going really fast at this point.
Yeah, Chad asking about the origins of ha-ha-ha-mus, and yes, it is from that infamous scene in Final Fantasy X with the very cringy laughter.
I agree, Pooexel. I love that Gangplank Galley. That's such a great song. That all the songs in that game are so good, though. David Wise Rex.
Yes, ha-ha-ha-mus is terrifyingly huge.
Yeah, one of the nice things, I mean, this is actually one of the smaller Z sprites in our arsenal. A lot of them are like basically covering the entire screen, so much so that when the characters like walk over to attack, they actually go over the sprite. Sometimes I think the sprite actually like goes below the, I forget, like it's weird.
I believe the sprite is on a lower layer than the characters, yes.
Yeah, so it can get huge, and it's awesome when it's really menacing, or really hilarious when it's just like enormous. Recently, Pixel and I did a race where it was Mikumus, so it was Hatsune Miku, but the size of the whole screen, and it was so cool. So cool.
Yes, that was the race for Powerhouse August. We were in a charity marathon benefiting Extra Life, and it's always nice to play video games for a good cause.
Absolutely. Especially against PixelTamer, my nemesis. I don't know, not really. He just beats me all the time.
And we saw the full virus come out on Lordbobbree's side, so that means we're not quite dealing enough damage to phase push quite yet, because I believe that comes out after the third Big Bang in phase 1.
Yeah, this is really tough. Without having a great agility situation, you can see that Threemus is really just kind of laying waste to this party. They don't have a lot of damage. I mean, Kain has a pretty good damage stick, and it looks like it looks like Lordbobbree is actually having his Palom use Bluff, and what that does is it stacks, I think, basically infinitely. Every time you use it, 15 Wisdom, which is like 1 Stardust Rod per. And then, as long as you're alive, you do that extra Wisdom damage.
I believe that the buff actually persists through death.
Does it really?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
That's
but
fascinating.
We have Mooney racing into Threemus right now, too, doing some final checks, probably making sure the agility situation is good.
Yeah, so I think Palom just cast a nuke and did quads, so that's why using that is so good. Ooh, and that Big Bang just came out after Rosa got hit. This could be really dicey. We might only have Kane and Sit up, but they probably both have enough HP to last here. Oh,
no,
actually,
that was properly nerfed. We're okay.
That was a nerf Big Bang, yeah. So this is going to be going okay. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to try and get that Rosa back up and try and heal, but I don't know if we have hit the phase change yet. I think we must have at this point, though. But yeah, we're getting simultaneous Z fights here. Mooney is actually catching up quite a lot because Lordbobbree's fight is so slow. So this is a really close race here at the end, and it's pretty exciting.
Yes, and our tracker Baka is pointing out that the bluff benefit is not a buff in the traditional sense, but it actually changes your base stats, and that lasts until you change your equipment.
Wait, so that's permanent? Like, you can leave battles and go into another battle?
I assume it expires when you leave a battle.
Oh, I see. If you take off, like, a rod. Okay, now I get it, right. But still, that's impressive. Okay, it looks like Lordbobbree's now using a crystal to try and do the nerf here. So continuing the nerfing going, which is going to be a good way of keeping your characters alive, so hopefully this continues to work.
Yeah, as mentioned, Threemus has a certain magic power set when he casts Big Bang, and he also likes to use Nuke as a counterattack, but Nuke has very high base power of its own, so when he uses his Nuke counterattack, the script lowers his spell power so that he doesn't just one-shot you with it. And if you time things right, you can keep that lowered spell power for the Big Bang cast, which is what we mean when we say we're nerfing the Big Bang.
Well, if that was an unnerved Big Bang, as you saw, Palom got wrecked. But thankfully Rosa's up, and she is able to cure for both Kane and herself. Sid is reflected there, so Sid might not last a lot longer, but honestly, he could just continue the show with just Kane and Rosa and be okay. So, it's interesting.
Yeah, this is still anybody's game.
Yeah, if Mooney can do faster, if he's got set up for reflex strats, that doesn't seem like it, but he could definitely catch up here if he put on a curse ring, which I don't recall if he did. We'll definitely have to ask Lordbobbree. I know that I think Mooney is probably not going to be available for interview because he's French Canadian and it's difficult for speaking English. But either way, we will talk to Lordbobbree when we get a chance. And rocks are falling. So Lordbobbree is finally in the end of this fight. It should be not too much longer here where we will see the end.
Yeah, there's about 10 to 12,000 hit points left when the rocks start to fall, I believe.
And we've got the crack boom, and GG's Lordbobbree, that boss is down. And he is coming in first place. Well, we don't have the time up yet. But he is going to be 2-0, and Mooney will be 1-1. So Lordbobbree will be moving on in the Swiss rounds here to the next 2-0 fight, which is going to be really spicy.
And it looks like we are joined by Lordbobbree. Congratulations on your win, GG.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what did you think of this start? Because obviously you must have been looking at that and going, oh shoot, it's going to be really jetty.
Well, sort of jetty, but it was all dependent on where the darkness crystal showed up, so that's always a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, that's the thing is, Darkness Crystal basically gave you go mode, so you didn't know where it was. Did you feel like you had to do like all the key item checks as quickly as you could, that it was kind of a key item hunt?
Yeah, definitely. I was just trying to figure out what the best path to take. And then I skipping out the pan early was a bit annoying. But yeah.
Yeah, did you feel bad about not doing the Sheila 1 check and then coming back? I guess you found music there, so you didn't know, but like thinking that you faded it, like were you concerned that maybe you missed something important?
Yeah, I didn't actually remember I faded it until I got back to turn in the pan, so but when I got there I was like, oh no, what if this is what I needed?
Yeah, you did awesome. I'm curious now, you're 2-0. How are you feeling? Obviously, 2-0 is the best you can be, but how are you feeling concerning your next matchup and where you're going, who you're going to be fighting and stuff?
Oh well. At 2 wins, I'm no doubt going to go against probably someone pretty tough, so definitely going to want to be prepared.
Is there anybody you particularly don't want to run into? We've got some spicy people in the Hook bracket who are at 2-0.
I don't remember who's in Hook and who's in Magma, but like, is Penguinator in Hook?
Penguinator
is in Magma, thankfully.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I have a list of the players up if you're interested. But so far, who's 2-0? Big Dunka, Commander Leonhardt, Dr. Cossack, JDP, LUF, and Plumeria Knight, and Twisted Flax, Vitasia, and Y2 Sky.
Definitely would have a tough time with Cossack and Big Dunka, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple scary ones in here. Those would be two of the big scary ones. Commander Leonhardt's gotten really good. I mean, everybody's going to be really tough, and I'm not even in it, so I can't really say anything because I wouldn't be good enough here. Twisted Flax is also really good. But yeah, any one of these fights is going to be difficult. But regardless, I wish you the best of luck. Any last thoughts on this seed?
When I started hitting 4 at my Cydia for the final time, I was thinking, I'm going to buy some Star Veils, I'm going to set up my party up like so everything all goes off in the right order, and then I got to my Cydia and completely forgot all that, so Z-Fight went worse than I wanted it to go.
Oh, that's okay. Before I forget, actually, the one thing I was going to ask, did you have a curse string on Tella?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I was surprised because actually it seemed like that fight was not, like the agility was kind of all over the place, so I was curious if maybe the curse string wasn't on there and that was causing it, but maybe it was just that everybody else in the party was also...
put it on.
Could be, but anyway, regardless, that's not too bad. And I guess one last thing, you did Keyless Tower. Did you feel like that was kind of a spicy play to take there, or did you feel like, okay, this is the play I need to make to get ahead?
This tournament actually hasn't felt all that spicy, and there weren't really any particularly good options except Baron Inn at the time, which I completely forgot about.
Yeah, as it turns out, Baron Inn had the tower key, and tower key had the pass. So if you had gotten that and been able to do it, yeah, it would have obviously saved you a little more time. And Mooney did get the pass, but it took him a little longer to do his grind, so he still ended up working well. But yeah. GG's. Did you have any questions for him, Pixel?
No, I think you covered all the important stuff. I've just been paying attention to Mooney, who is currently on his second attempt at Threemus, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, thanks, Lordbobbree, and GG's.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks like Mooney's still making pace here on the Z fight, continuing to throw down nukes and do damage. So I feel like the hit points level here is pretty strong, although he does not have a Rosa, unlike Lordbobbree. So
yes, I think I saw the curse string go up though.
Okay, so yeah, so that might be why this looks a little bit cleaner here. But yeah, Palom throwing out those nukes is so powerful. He might be able to single-handedly take out Z by himself here. Just doing quad 9s, like that's just amazing.
Yeah, it looks like we're going reflect strats with those whites and those nukes. The Holy not doing quite as much as the nuke, but it's still gonna help.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest downside to Holy is that it takes longer to cast, and then the whole cast animation takes a lot longer, which is frustrating, because it does the little, like, white swirly thing both directions. But
Yep, no, my bad. We are doing a hybrid strat. I just saw Yang doing some punch maging.
yeah, I thought so, because I had seen that too, so yeah. The nice thing about doing just reflex strats is you can actually skip. There's a refill in the hit points, where if you do a direct attack to Threemus, it will trigger the counter attack of refilling his hit points to like 65,000 whatever. So if you just do reflect attacks on him, it does not do that refill, and you can actually take him out whatever it is, like 60-some thousand hit points.
Yeah, to elaborate on that, the Super Nintendo is a 16-bit console. The largest number it can actually count to is 65,000 and change. If we want to have a boss with more than that in hit points, we need to have something in the battle script that will do a refill at some point. That's usually implemented as a counterattack, and in this game, if you reflect a spell onto a target, that does not trigger any counterattack scripts, which means you can cheese your way through about 40 to 50,000 points of Zeromus' health by just reflecting spells onto him.
Exactly. That makes that fight a lot faster if you've got really good magic damage, and especially if you don't have good physical damage. Sometimes it's good to just power your way through with Power Overwhelming and use your physical attacks and just take them out and not even worry about it. Sometimes if you're feeling like really behind and you've got good nuke, maybe 2 nukers, maybe a white, if you have like 3 casters that can throw that down, you just want to skip the physical DPS and just go straight for that skipping refill. Ooh, but that was a spicy big bang there, and Palom is at 170 hit points. Yang is dropped down pretty far, but of course he has got 40, almost 4,500 hit points. But Porum died, so hopefully he can get himself back up here.
Yep, and that black hole dispelling the Berserk, dispelling the Star Veil. We'll need to take a moment to get reestablished.
And we have rocks falling. That's super scary actually, because that might take out both twins. Ooh, it skipped Palom. That's lucky, but Porum is down, so he's got to get some damage out really quickly here, or try and get Porum back up. I'm not sure what the right move is here, but this is a really scary moment.
Do we have any Cure 3s left?
Looks like it's just Cure 2s, unfortunately. Right, Alicel, as you're saying, yeah, 65,535 is the highest number. I think that's like a 16-bit whatever number. I don't know how that works,
that is
but
2 to the power of 16 minus 1.
Right, exactly. And 0 being the 65,536th character. Oh, using a spicy Grimoire? Oh, are you kidding me? Leviathan. Are you kidding me?
And we get it.
And that's it. Crack, boom. He got. Oh gosh. Well, okay.
That was spicy.
That's amazing. But yeah, GG's. Oh yeah, Lordbobbree won with a time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, 6 seconds, and Mooney comes in second with a time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 10 seconds. So GG's to him.
And we are joined by Mooney. GG, well played.
Thanks.
Yeah, GG's.
How did you feel about that seed?
Oh, the seed was pretty soft and fun compared I got from #BlameTheTara. I'm still a fan of your seed. I'm really unused with Mage Party, but I'm glad I managed well until Threemus. When I gave the Star Veil at Yang, I was like, what have I done? Oh well, here goes nothing.
Yeah, wow, what an ending. That was amazing.
You were the only person to get that tower key. How did it feel to have the pass and the darkness crystal at the same time like that?
To be honest, at this moment, I was happy to be go mode and might have chance to win. I got this because it's a route I took, and I believe we can never be mad after your choice. Except in SMB3 randomizer when Peach gave you an extra vessel at the Darkland.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, next question is, what do you think of the seed, and how do you feel about the tournament so far?
Best tournament you did from now. You put a lot of effort and it's payoff really. I would participate any Persian time with this set. The flag set was funny to unlike the sparse and a free character. It was different from what we do usually.
Yeah, this is definitely a new flag set, so it is interesting to see how things go.
But yes, you played well. Hope to see you succeed in your next race and have a chance to get through in the next qualifier.
Yeah, GG's, and thank you for coming on for the interview. I appreciate it, and we all appreciate hearing you. So thank you for coming on.
Thanks. I will do some comeback if I practice well my English.
Yeah, good luck. Your English is great, honestly. You're doing awesome. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, take care.
You too.
All right, so I believe we are wrapping it up here.
Yeah, while we find out where we're going for raids, let's go over tomorrow's races again. We've got Classy Badger versus Gundam Pilot Spaz at 4 p.m. Eastern on Free Enterprise. Then we've got the Battle of the Admins, Poidrak versus Smapety at 6 p.m. on RPG Limit Break. At 8 p.m. on Free Enterprise, where we've got Crimson Apex versus Kedril. And then at 8 p.m. over here on Randomania, we've got Min the Mage versus Chakasura.
That's right. It's going to be a jam-packed race schedule tomorrow, so I'm going to be super excited. I'll be in the audience watching with all you guys. I don't have any restream duties tomorrow, so I'm going to be enjoying. It looks like we are actually headed over to Randomania next. I believe there's another race going on because we're doing lots of races and Free Enterprise season is on. But also, before I let y'all go, I do want to thank Alicel again for doing the restreaming. I would like to thank Baka Shinobi as well for doing tracking. And especially I want to thank my co-commentator and nemesis, PixelTamer. I guess that maybe Nemesis is getting a little old, but that's okay. But
it's fun.
But it's fun. Yeah, we played each other a couple of times, and he's beaten me most of them, or all of them. So, but he's been great. It's been awesome chatting with you. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, one last thing before we send you over to Randomania. Please do not talk about spoilers for this race in that chat. If you would like to discuss spoilers, we do have a race spoilers channel on our Discord. Other than that, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great evening.